Hey, do you suffer from anxiety? Is it debilitating to the point where you aren't happy and don't enjoy life? Well, watch this video and get anxiety relief fast, because you're going to discover 3 tips I've learned for overcoming anxiety fast that don't have anything to do with harmful, mind-altering medications. Look, you're not alone. 40 million Americans struggle with anxiety every day. I know. I used to be one of them, but not anymore. So let me tell you the tips that help me overcome my anxiety. Tip number 1. You need to learn how to separate real danger from perceived danger. And what that means is you need to think about how you are thinking. Being able to tell the difference from something that's really dangerous and something that really isn't is super important for overcoming anxiety. Our thoughts and beliefs create our feelings, and irrational thoughts can create feelings that, well, make us feel bad. So learning to identify and separate the rational feelings and the rational thoughts from the irrational feelings and the irrational thoughts is super important. So that's step 1. You need to do that. And what that takes is a certain amount of reflection. You actually have to say to yourself, okay, what's the situation? What am I thinking? Why do I think I'm thinking that way? Is it rational? Is it something that actually could happen? For instance, you might think the worst is going to happen. You're planning a trip out to the store. You're thinking, oh my gosh, it's going to be like it always is. You don't want to catastrophize everything, because that's not rational. Everything is not a catastrophe. So when you have these irrational thoughts and turn it into a situation where everything's a catastrophe, well, that's not doing you any good, because quite frankly, if you stop and think about it, how often does a catastrophe happen? For instance, you've gone to the grocery store many times in your life, haven't you? How many times has that turned into a catastrophe? I'm willing to bet it's never turned into a catastrophe. So we've got to be able to separate our irrational thoughts from our rational thoughts. Okay? So that's one of the things that I struggle with. A lot of irrational thoughts. So they have to be identified. Say to yourself, okay, rational or irrational. And if it's rational, great. Let's give it some energy. If it's an irrational thought, put it out of your mind. It's not worth giving any energy to. Tip number 2 is externalize your worry. Think of this worry that we all do when we're feeling anxious like a little pest, a creature whose only purpose is to make you feel scared. And every time you listen to that worry, don't go in there, don't talk to those people, don't leave the house, don't put yourself in that situation. Every time you listen to that worry, you're feeding it, and every time you feed it, you're making your worry stronger. So what strategy do you use to externalize your worry? Well, number 1, you don't obey your worry. You talk back to it. You challenge it. You correct it. You refuse to listen to it. Every time you externalize it, well, that's a win for you. And the more you do this, the more wins that you have. So if you keep doing this, before you know it, you've got tons of wins piling up. You've got way more wins than losses. And you'll feel like you're regaining control of your life. So tip number 2 is to externalize your worry. So practice externalizing your worry when you feel it start up. When you feel it coming on, recognize it for what it is and say, that's just my worry talking to me. I don't need to listen to it. I'm not going to listen to it. Tip number 3 is expose, reflect, and adjust. So the exposure part of this is the component that involves intentionally putting yourself into situations that make you feel a little anxious. It's the facing your fears part of the process. So an important step in managing your anxiety is to face the situations that you've been avoiding because they make you anxious. Repeatedly facing those situations reduces distress in the long term and helps build up confidence. And I know this part's going to make some of you uncomfortable, because I know it made me uncomfortable at first. But we have a choice. We can succumb to the fear and shrink away from all those situations that make us anxious, and then we're going to stay stuck. Or we can face our fears, move towards them, and become free from them. So after you do the exposure part, it's really important to reflect. Okay, how did that go? I went and exposed myself to that situation that makes me feel a little anxious, and how did it go? Well, first of all, did I make it through it? Guess what? You made it through it. Was it a little uncomfortable? Sure, it was a little uncomfortable. But dealing with this little amount of discomfort is going to help you free yourself from all the chains that bind you with anxiety. So after you do the reflection piece, you think about the situation you put yourself in, how it went, realize that You know what? It wasn't really that bad. That's another win. That's another win to put in your pile of wins. And then you adjust. You think, okay, is there anything that I could have done differently? Could I have thought differently? Because really, this is about changing your thinking. Because once you change your thinking, you change your feelings. When you go from thinking about automatic negative thoughts to not thinking about them, you go from feeling worried and fearful to comfortable and okay. So I encourage you to use those 3 tips in helping yourself conquer your anxiety. They've worked for me. I used to be so uncomfortable in situations where I'd have to go out and be around other people and hang out with my friends and go shopping, and it was just such an uncomfortable feeling, made me feel anxious and worried and scared. But after working on myself, I can be put in any social situation now and handle it. I can be put into any room with any group of people and not feel inferior, not worry about what I'm going to say or do, just go about my business and be me. And that is such a freeing feeling. It is so liberating to move past the anxiety and be able to go out and live a normal, healthy life. And I want that for you too. It's important that you learn how to stop anxiety symptoms if you really want to be happy in life. And really, the 3 tips that I told you about earlier in the video, they're the secret to stopping fear and anxiety, and they actually work. Those 3 tips are going to teach you how to deal with anxiety, and they're going to help you get immediate anxiety relief. Those 3 tips can literally teach you how to overcome fear and anxiety in 30 seconds. These 3 tips work for all sorts of anxiety. One of the biggest challenges is when people try and overcome social anxiety. Well, you can overcome social anxiety using these 3 techniques. And you and I both know these are things that only people with social anxiety will understand. You'll never see social anxiety the same after watching this video. The symptoms of general anxiety and panic disorder can make you feel uncomfortable, sad, and it can even lead to depression. Learning how to control anxiety disorder is going to change the way you live. You deserve more out of life. You deserve to be happy and enjoy your life, and I'm here to tell you that there's hope. There's hope that you can enjoy your life, hope that you can feel safe and secure every day. There's hope that you can have close relationships with people who you can trust and who accept you for who you are. Thousands of people have been able to conquer their anxiety and go on to live happy, fun, fulfilled lives. The symptoms of painful anxiety can be significantly reduced or eliminated altogether if you know the right strategies. So use those 3 tips that I mentioned earlier in this video. I've also put together a little anxiety relief cheat sheet with 5 tips and strategies for overcoming your anxiety and living a happy, stress-free life. So visit the website in the description below this video right now to get your 100% absolutely free anxiety relief cheat sheet and start living the anxiety-free life that you deserve. Now, if you like what you've seen and heard in this video, would you please do me a favor? Would you share this video with your friends, leave comments about what you liked, and subscribe to my YouTube channel by clicking on the red subscribe button below. And most importantly, visit the website in the description below this video right now to get access to your free anxiety relief cheat sheet with 5 of the best tips and strategies for overcoming your anxiety once and for all.